The battle for the ballot box gets bloody in slasher movie Founders Day, out January 19th, when a masked killer embarks on his own campaign of terror. Director Eric Blomquist explains that the film, for which EW can exclusively debut the trailer shown above, takes place in a small town on the cusp of a heated mayoral election and the town's 300th anniversary celebration. On the eve of all of these things happening, one of the candidates' children is killed, and it becomes a hot-button political issue, he says. The film's cast includes 13 Reasons Why actors Devin Druid and Amy Hargreaves, as well as Naomi Grace, who portrays the movie's high schooler heroine, Allison. The director describes Grace's character as somebody who has a future outside of the borders of this town but also feels a kinship to it and who probably could affect change. The film's most recognizable face probably belongs to Boy Meets World actor William Russ, who played Corey's dad Alan Matthews on the classic sitcom and now plays a teacher named Mr. Jackson, a longtime educator at the town's high school on Founders Day. When Eric and I grew up, we watched Boy Meets World religiously, says the director's brother and co-writer Carson Blomquist. There's this tie and familiarity we have with him that just felt exactly right for this idea that he's been there for decades. In a way, he's been there for decades in our life. Carson continues that it's interesting to see Russ become this older, wiser figure. It's like the Feeney role in Boy Meets World, which is fun, he adds. He was so excited to be there. He came to play every day, and he nailed it. In the film, the killer wears a wig and also a red mask on which the Blomquists collaborated with Alterian, the effects company founded by legendary makeup designer Tony Gardner, Zombieland, the Chucky franchise. It's an uncannily fused-together half-comedy, half-tragedy mask, says Eric, who himself plays a political advisor in the film. There is this political theater component to the film that we're highlighting with the theatricality of the mask. If you look, sometimes you'll see the frown, and then the killer will turn and it will be the smirk. The killer's weapon of choice? A wooden gavel with a switchblade knife hidden in its handle. Eric says that he loves a good Ghostface hunting knife for sure, but there was something very blunt about the gavel. He adds, I'm very happy that we landed on that and found ways to adapt certain kills to utilize that. Speaking of Ghostface, the pair admit that their desire to make a slasher film was initially inspired by Wes Craven's 1996 horror classic Scream. Carson explains that the Neve Campbell starring film was a huge movie for the siblings when they were growing up and opened their eyes to so many other classic films. I'm sure some parallels will be drawn, adds Eric, who previously collaborated with his sibling on the horror films 10 Minutes to Midnight and She Came from the Woods. We don't want to be meta-referential or about movies, because that's their thing, and they do it so masterfully. I think the connection is this sense of mischief we felt when we first watched Scream. It's something that we wanted to conjure in our own way. Founders Day co-stars Katherine Curtin, Emilia McCarthy, Jace Bartok, Olivia Nickenen, and Andrew Stewart-Jones. The film will be released in theaters this January 19th.